BIC episode 156, and on this episode, nothing crazy has happened. Kenny didn't light himself on fire, despite our best efforts. It's terrible. However, unrelated, we are this much closer to a one-man kazoo parade. More on that on Friday, but we will briefly touch on it tonight. Just saying, we're getting closer. We're dangerously close. So we got a couple of the regular features, silly card of the week, a couple of pickups. I will mention a couple of things. And, Brandon, let it not be said, I will even do a correction on myself. That and more on this episode. I know. That and more on this episode of the BAC Podcast. Yes, under the watchful eyes of Brett Favre. We must speak the truth in this house, Brandon. The house that will soon encompass the all-encompassing content God megachurch. We cannot sit on the throne of lies in this holy place. So yeah, I'll make sure we correct that.
You can't sit on the throne of lies.
I will make sure. Silence, Eric. Or you shall be smoten. Not just smited, smoten. I know. So anyway, we'll get into a couple of the regular ones. So a couple of comments from last week. We'll give you the results of the silly card of the week, the only true democracy in this world. We'll make sure we touch on that. So last week, we did do a live episode on the Probstein business. As I said, there's nothing new. Right now, as it stands, the allegations remain open-ended. We haven't heard anything from Probstein. That's the reason why I say there's nothing specifically that I need to add. If something does change, I will happily do a video to cover it. We'll touch on Friday, whatever happens. But at the moment, right now, Probstein's still back on eBay. We haven't heard of no subsequent incidents, and we're still curious about the rest of it. And my correction will also be semi-related to that as well. So we'll get into that in a second. Now, real quick, I'll cover a couple of comments from last week here. International Borders here said, the hobby gods have been kind this month. Talk about a Festivus. These are facts. 100%. Overall, this past month was one of the most successful ones on the channel in quite some time. I was very impressed. And thank you to all the new subscribers and everybody that joined in. And again, if there are topics and things you want us to talk about, you're more than welcome to put it in the comment section because we do respond to the comment section. And then Paul Heath here says, if the site wasn't that secure, what are the odds that somebody hacked it? It took the whole site hostage and he can't even get into it. So kind of Paul was asking this question. I got to this comment a little bit later. So the first part, he basically is saying that he got hacked. So in the brief statements that he did give, he stated that. And then the second part, if you can't get into it, there is a splash page that's a Snype-based splash page. So if they couldn't get into the site, then you're not going to have a splash page that's basically giving your excuse away. So really, I think he's got some access to it, but the rest of it, we're all guessing. We just don't know. We don't know the specifics of what happened. We've got suspicions, and we got a little bit pieces of evidence that seem to lead us in certain directions, but we're still trying to figure out the rest of it because there hasn't been any subsequent updates. But I hear what they're saying. That's fair enough. So thank you all for the comments on that. The rest of the comments, it was a live episode, so we definitely engaged with the chat on that one. All right, next thing here I wanted to touch on. Actually, since I've got that, let me do the correction. So I can issue a correction where it's appropriate because if something got wrong, it's important that we make sure we correct it. During that live episode last week, I was talking in the course of discussing it. Well, actually, it was on the Friday live stream. I was talking about this and kind of putting a button on it for now. And in the course of discussing that, we talked about the fact that Collect did a very mediocre job of covering it and didn't really talk about the data breach really at all until they absolutely had to, and the bare minimum they said about it. And they didn't talk about the allegations at all. Like they basically tried to stay out of it. And I said on Friday that as far as I'm concerned, that makes you not really a media outlet at all. Like, and as far as I'm concerned, there really isn't card media. But one thing we did talk about is we were talking about Sports Collectors Daily, and Eric, it turns out that Sports Collectors Daily did in fact have an article in Snype. I just couldn't find it on my first pass through because I was trying to find it and I didn't have any luck. For the record, by the way, a tip to the wise, you should put Probstein's name on it because that's really what I was looking for. I wasn't specifically looking for Snype and I completely missed it when I was looking through a couple of times to try to find it. So I want to correct the record. For the record, Sports Collectors Daily did in fact have an article, and I'm going to leave the article in the description so that you can check it out for yourself. And actually, it's a decent summary. I read through it a little bit, and it runs through a couple of the main details. High level, if you haven't already heard about it, then you can certainly use this. Snype's scrubbed launch, tech failures, user data concerns, doom, new auction platform. So Rich Mueller here wrote the article November 24th. So so credit where it's due, Eric. He did, in fact, write the article here, and it does include some information, which is nice. A good summary of it. Talks about the issues, talks about what it was supposed to be promising initially, the technical disruptions, and then here's a big piece that I included here. Security and data concerns raised by users. So it is all included in here. So very solid piece of writing on this. Good stuff. And then one more thing at the end, dealing with data concerns. And then here they also consulted with an attorney, Eric, lawyer.
Oh, New England based. Very nice.
Yep. So they consulted with a lawyer here who is also an instructor on data privacy and data breach response. So, hey, maybe somebody that would be relevant that could add a little bit of flavor to this. So I'll quickly read here. They told them that anytime there's a data breach, an online retailer must conduct an investigation to see if any personal data protected by state law was affected. Some states have minimum thresholds you need to meet before reporting, and others have low risk of harm exceptions. It's possible there was a privacy issue, but not necessarily a data breach. But at least they asked somebody. At least they got a little bit of information, inquired, and then cited their sources. Eric, heaven forbid, what an idea.
I like the citing of the sources.
Yes. So you know what, Brandon? Credit where it's due. I shall correct myself. I initially thought there was no article on it, but in fact, Sports Collectors Daily does have an article on it. Link in the description so you can check it out, and we give them full credit for it. So good on them.
Excellent.
Fair is fair, Eric. We got to correct ourselves when we need to. It's important.
I look forward to reading the article.
Good stuff. All right. So with that said, silly card of the week time. So we did get 47 votes this past week. So
very
strong
nice.
showing. I like it.
But they voted for the wrong people. I looked earlier.
Oh, I think they voted for the correct people. I think in the end we got where we needed to be. So it was tight here at the end. Sorry, the dog psycho didn't quite get there. However, 43 to 36 is actually a pretty close result. But the three faces of Brutus, Bruti, the three faces of Brutus the Barber Beefcake was victorious over Bagels.
I really thought Bagels had a shot.
Bagels was actually leading for the majority of the time once the posting got up there.
I thought you couldn't go any better than Will Clark Psycho with his dog food.
But what if we're really hungry? Then we want bagels.
Yeah, but I mean, I hear all these collectors and everybody else talk about the food issues, and I'm giving them the food issues and Psycho and everything else, and they let me down.
Bagels should have won. I'm sorry. Especially since I begged and pleaded. I showed no shame, and I begged and pleaded for votes for Bagels, and I should have won.
Indeed. Well, Brandon, you've got another chance to redeem yourself, and based on the direction you decided to take this, I once again question if we met the criteria of 5% more mature. I would argue, Eric, we're 5% less mature with this.
This is silliness.
Very silly
rules in this segment.
Yeah. All right. So, Brandon, do you wish to explain what's going on here?
So I thought this card was the all-encompassing for the Because I'm Carlos channel. You start off with the Blue Jays, and you have Encarnacion coming into the dugout at the All-Star game where he either scored a run, hit a homer. I'm not sure, but they're very excited for the man. Some may even be too excited.
Ooh.
Getting his high fives, and I don't know if Edwin really should have took one from Mr. Fishboy back there, because he's doing a little something that the cameraman caught, or camera woman, and watch who you're high-fiving.
Did you watch that hand?
These are all questions that we have, Eric. That said, we should move on.
And before we proceed, I want to give a shout out to Chris Sewell. I don't know if he watches the podcast, but he's been doing this. He did a second episode of Silly Ridiculous Cards, and I actually
I saw in the thumbnail that one of the Pro Set card was on there.
Yeah, the one with the hockey with the butt card. Yeah. Well, I watched his episode this morning, and that's where I came across this one. So props to his viewers who suggested some of the cards. That was this episode too. It was like viewers had suggested. So shout out to them. I'm gonna give credibility where it's due.
Everybody's borrowing everybody's homework, Eric. There you go. All right. So this one is actually a classic card from the 1974 top set. Now, some would argue this is a bit of a camera trick based on the image taken. This is Dave Kingman, then of the San Francisco Giants, someone who retired with, I think it was over 440 career home runs, but was absolutely a terrible hitter, a terrible fielder. He basically sucked at baseball, with the exception of the fact he was like 6'6", Eric, and he could hit the ball a long, long, long way. So he hit So he's a guy who can hit a ton of home runs and basically be lucky to bat his weight. And by that, I mean bat below his weight. But he could hit the ball a mile. What was interesting, though, is that obviously we've seen this in football. And in this card, Dave Kingman is clearly seeing ghosts. The specters are floating around him all over.
Clearly.
Mm-hmm. You can see that. Happy Halloween, Boo.
Yeah,
The spectacular lives. All right, Eric, this one's yours.
Well, I wanted to comment more on that other one. It reminded me of the painting by what was it, Edvard Munch?
Wow, he's going cultured. You mean the Scream?
The Scream, and
Yes.
so first I was thinking of the Scream painting, and then the Scream movie, and then the Halloween movie with Michael Myers. So I think I've seen it all in there.
Mhm.
I think I see the classic painting, the I think up in the right hand corner there is the Scream mask, and I just get this feeling of Michael Myers throughout. So yeah, that's pretty messed up, man. Can you get that off now?
What's the horror movie thing where like the face is coming out of like the stretched plastic? Because you could also see that in Dave Kingman's back.
Oh, the Frighteners. The Frighteners.
Yeah, well, he's got that in his back pocket.
See? It's all encompassing, man. 1974, Eric. That was a hell of a drug.
That was a hell of a drug.
All right, here we are.
Yeah, this is just utterly ridiculous because this is like 1986. You know, it's quote modern day, and they just did a horrible job on this whole situation, and it looks like as bad as it did in the 60s on some of the cards they did back then. The helmet is like painted on. The jersey is completely not correct. I mean, it's so bad. They just painted everything on this guy. And it's horrible. It's horrible. The logo's horrible. The shoulders are horrible. The helmet's a complete joke. And whoever wore a silver helmet like that? You haven't seen that since, until the Kings started wearing their silver helmets not that long ago. So, yeah, I saw this recently, and I just was dumbfounded by how poor of a job they did with this.
Indeed. So all these will be included in a community post on there. You can make your selection. Remember, Boo, spectacular. But regardless, you can make your favorite selection. We count every single one of the votes. The only true democracy in this world. You will see the post on there. Feel free to vote early and vote often. All right, so we got that covered. Let me see here. Now we got a couple of pickups. So I've got a few here really quick that I was able to showcase. One of them actually I picked up a little while ago, but it came from COMC. So what I'll do is I'll share with you. What I actually did with this one is because I do have to be careful with these ones because they do have backdoor copies. It is the Flair Showcase, the Legacy Collection. So I'm going to show you here. And it is appropriate, of course, given, the channel and what we're talking about here. We have a Not Swell Fella Legacy Collection on there. So it actually came off in a PSA 8, so very solid. The Legacy Collections here, this particular year, they're numbered to 99. So you want to be careful with these because they do have between 98, 97, and 99. There's quite a bit of backdoor copies. So you do want to make sure. Oftentimes, if you notice the numbering is a little askew, I don't know why it ended up being that way on a lot of the legitimate ones. The numbering is, but that actually is one of the indicators you're looking for oftentimes, because if it's too perfect, then it could be somebody messing around and trying to create, a fake, basically using a backdoor and trying to make it look like the legitimate ones that came out of packs. So you do want to take that extra precaution. And you do have an advantage. Obviously, COMC right now, there's a couple of questions. So we can get into that maybe this episode or in a future episode. But regardless, they do have the ability to overturn a sale if it turns out there's an issue. Because if you do send it in for authentication, and Neo has actually done this in the past, if it turned out there was an issue and you got the card back and there was a problem with it, you can actually have COMC overturn it. It's rare that it actually comes into play because oftentimes somebody's at least looked at it previously. But if there's an issue, it's nice to have that in your back pocket. In this case, the card turned out all right. So, and it's a nice looking card. So I'm looking forward to having that one in hand, along with a few other ones I've got on the PC. So real quick, that was the first one I wanted to share. Do either one of you guys have one that you would like to share?
I have a couple here,
Sure,
real
go for it.
quick.
If you show a pregnancy belly, I'm done.
Nope, I'm not going to show that. So I've been on a buying kick since coming back from the expo. I'm going to share just the hockey stuff here, but this is the Skybox, the metal retro. Been really hunting the harder to pull insert cards. I have the Sagan already of this, so I picked up the Jamie Benn Jambalaya. I don't know why my camera isn't.
Because it's focusing on your face. You have to
Yeah.
kind of
It's being stupid. It almost had it. Anyway, Jambalaya. And then these, I am critical of Upper Deck a lot of times on their products, but I have to say I'm impressed with these. So from Artifacts, the Antiquity.
yeah, they got like a stained glass thing going. That
Yeah,
actually
and
looks pretty
I
good.
love the stained glass heroes in like baseball and football and stuff. And so when I seen these, I was like, okay, this is down my alley. So I got the Robertson there, and then the following year they did Wyatt Johnston,
Mhm.
and it also has the stained glass look.
Yeah,
So
it's
really
nice when it's
like
properly
those.
see-through. Yeah, it's nice when it's actually properly see-through. I think that's actually pretty good.
Yeah. So
All right, Eric, I'll save one or two for the end, but if you got something now, if you want to go for it.
I got something that's really cool and a lot of people might not know about. So we all know, Bobby Orr's rookie card, 1966 tops. Okay. One of the classic cards that there is. Everyone knows about it. A lot of people don't know that the last 6 cards of that set, there is a Bobby Orr puzzle on the back of the last 6 cards of the set. And so this is his rookie year. He's on the back of the puzzle, but there's something that very few people know about the picture that they used. And it is from like his very first preseason game with the Bruins. And do either one of you know what number Bobby Orr was wearing in that preseason game?
I remember it was in the text message thread, but then I remembered it was Bobby Orr and I lost interest. I'm going to say 19.
You are correct. 19. He wore 19 and 27 in the preseason and was given 4 for the remainder of his career. So if you look on the back of the Gump Worsley and Alan Stanley 66 All-Star cards, you will see Bobby Orr. All right. And if you look closely enough, you will make out that he's wearing number 19 on his sleeve, which means that this is probably his very first preseason hockey game. So I've been picking these up. I also have his legs. All right. And those are some old ass skates. I was looking at these skates earlier. That is insane. And then the one that says Bobby Orr, basically rookie of the year. And the other 2 cards, one is in the mail, and the other one is really expensive because it's Jean Beliveau, and it's just a blank ice corner piece. There's nothing on it except the ice. So I will get it at some point to finish the puzzle, but all the parts that matter of him, his stick, his legs, and his shoulder with number 19 on it, I now have, and I'm very excited about it. So, it's just another piece of, Bobby Orr's rookie year, and a lot of people don't even know about it. Real hockey collectors don't know that he's on the puzzle, and definitely don't know he's wearing number 19.
There you go. So last couple here, I've got one that's the hockeys, and the other one represents kind of some stuff that I'm working on right now and chasing, and also kind of lead me into a little plug for stuff that I'm working on recently. So first one, we got a Jamie Benn here from Parker's Champions. This is the black parallel, numbered to 10. I actually picked this up on the eBays.
I missed out on the Ottinger that was on auction, and it went
yeah?
very stupid cheap.
Oh yeah. How cheap are we talking?
Hold on, I'll pull it up.
Yeah.
This,
So
this is the product we were opening at dinner, right?
this was, yep. This is the exact one. So, and I actually did pull a black. I think it was Kyle Connor, the one that I pulled. They're numbered to 10. That actually was what inspired me to go take a look because I love grabbing stuff like this for Jamie Benn. Also, by the way, belated because it obviously happened the last week or two. Belated congrats to Jamie Benn for officially scoring 400 goals. I think he's now at 401. So, and still longest tenured captain in Dallas Star history. Now, obviously, I will show the next one here in a second. Hang on. $5.50. Look at you.
I missed it. I was driving when the auction was ending, and I was so mad when I seen it.
Brandon, this was your moment. Alexa, megabid.
Yeah.
This is all you needed to do.
I missed it anyway.
So this one wasn't quite that cheap, but it was still pretty cheap. Basically, this one was there. I actually missed this one the first time, Eric. It was $9.99 was the starting bid they put on there, which again, probably honestly, if you just put it 99 cents, I would have gotten cheaper. But $9.99 isn't offensive to me. It's perfectly fine. But I actually missed it. And then they put it back on eBay for $9.99, buy it now. And I was like, fine, here you go. Done. Sure. And it's a Canadian seller. So actually it saves me on shipping. It's a little bit more straightforward. I'm like, yep, let's do it. Out of 10. I'll take it happily. $1 per copy. So it's fine. That's perfectly fine by me. Second one, I don't showcase too many of these here, but it is appropriate to what I'm about to get to here in a second. A new piece for the Dennis PC. So this is from the brand new SP Game Used product. And so this will be kind of a little side plug as well, is on the Wrestling channel. I've got a conversation that I recorded with Spicy Eye. And in the course of that conversation, we talked about that product. We talked about some of the stuff related to it. And also I had some questions for him based on a conversation that I'd had on another YouTube channel. That probably isn't going to drop for a couple of weeks though, based on what they're saying. So I'll talk about it more and I'll make sure I promote it a little bit more once that episode drops because I recorded a podcast episode with them. So that's strictly on wrestling cards. But that one, the conversation with Billy is already on the other channel. I'll leave a link in the description to it if you want to check it out if you're curious. And he does talk about the lead time on doing a product. And by the way, the lead time on doing a product for wrestling cards, it's the same thing for hockey. The actual process and what he actually went through, the description, he went all through a bunch of the different steps. That's actually applicable to everything Upper Deck does. So it's actually across the board. Any Upper Deck product they do, it's the same process. It just so happened in this case I did it in the context of the wrestling cards. Go ahead, Eric. I saw your hand.
I was just curious. I really am seriously asking, but it is kind of a funny question.
Uh-huh.
Where was Billy filming from?
So he was actually house sitting.
I knew it. All right, that's it. Now I'm all set. I knew it.
Yeah. But Eric, I know you saw it, but did you watch it?
I watched the first 5 or 8 minutes.
Okay. Listen to me very carefully. No spoilers. Watch it all the way through. And in the last 5 minutes, what you were thinking about comes up again.
Awesome. All right.
So no spoilers. No. I don't want to spoil it because Billy gives us a revelation inside of that very last. So you must go through. Brandon, that's a tease right there. In the business, that's a tease.
You got it.
Yeah. So just letting you know, there is something relevant to what you just asked about that comes up at the very end of that discussion. So
all right.
It is there. So if you are curious and you do want to check it out, I will leave a link in the description to it for you. If you don't care about it, don't worry about it. But I just wanted to make sure I at least promoted it because it is on the side channel. And I like, Brendan, as far as I'm concerned, that's my little side project. And I have a lot of fun on that channel. I get to do my stuff. I get to open my wrestling cards and get stuff in the mail. But here, the funny thing, and this will come up here. I don't have a main topic today. I have a couple of small ones. But I got to be honest with you, Brandon. I think, though, it does play into the kind of general theme that we've talked about the last couple of weeks. And specifically, a lot of people were getting bogged down like, oh, all this drama and whatever. Oh, it's getting me down. And I was kind of making fun of it, especially on Fridays Live and then some of the other ones, because I'm sitting there like, guys, it's like the news. If it really bothers you down, if it genuinely drags you down, may I suggest grabbing the remote and changing the channel? Because nobody's forcing you to. I get a kick out of it. Like, I feel like it's been abundantly clear, Brandon, that when it came to the Beckett stuff and a lot of I was having the time of my life. I was having a good time. But I'm enjoying it in the context of like just taking it in and kind of observing it happen. But the reality is, I'm not unaware of these things. It's not like there was no revelation that show bidding existed. It's no revelation that people did it before. It wasn't even a revelation that auction houses had shady things in their terms and conditions. The specifics I hadn't bothered to look into, and it was interesting to read the specifics, the specific verbiage they used. So I did learn something, Eric. I learned a little bit more specifics about the type of language specifically they were using, but the concept of the terms and conditions held a lot of the stuff in there. No, that was not new to me. But learning about specific auction houses that had, they specifically allow that. Oh, that's interesting. So there was learning to be had. And for folks that maybe were naive to it, then yes, it is illuminating. It enlightens them a little bit to it, which is not a bad thing. Knowledge in this case is not a bad thing. But again, if it does get you down, though, I understand. But then maybe you need to lay off it. Maybe that it would be taking it enough of a dose so that you're not ignorant, so that you're not unaware, but then stop. Then don't go beyond that, because then, we don't want to ruin our hobby experience. But if that's the way you are, then minimize it.
Here's a serious question, though.
Serious question.
And you can attribute to this even just recently. You just mentioned something about, the month of November and the performance of the channel and everything.
Sure. Yeah.
So many times people say that they're tired of the drama, or they're tired of hearing it, or everybody's being negative, or this, that, and the other. And then you hear so many times, well, I want to see cards. I want to hear about collecting, and I want to hear this or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whose fault is it that the negativity and drama outperforms everything that everybody always says they want to see? If that's what people are really wanting to watch, then why in the hell is it anytime it's a drama topic, or people will come on and say, yeah, the news has been dry, there's not been much going on, but yet something pops off, and what do you get? 800,000, 1,200 plus views. You go and do your mail day or talk about a collection or something that you're working on completing, 50, 100 views maybe? It's always ass backwards, because people say that they want to see the collecting and the cards and all this, but when you do it, it gets no views. And they don't want to hear the drama, but you do a drama video and it gets watched. Like, is it the algorithm?
You got to put it in the middle, Eric. In the middle.
Is it the algorithm, or is it literally that people are just so attracted to the train wreck that although they say they're tired of hearing it, or they don't want to hear it, and they want to see the cards and the collecting, like, are they being hypocritical, or is it just the algorithm playing the algorithm game? Because it's never made sense to me.
Yeah, well, Brandon, to answer your question, so since you asked a serious question, here's a serious answer. The answer is both. The algorithm, and I've said this before, I think a lot of people don't misunderstand. Maybe it's worthwhile bringing this up again. When we talk about the algorithm, we like saying it. It's kind of a fun topic to bring up for YouTubers and stuff like that. But here's what people don't understand about the algorithm. The algorithm is based on you, the individual. It's not based on me. I can make 1,000 videos about a topic, and if nobody clicks on videos of that, it's never going to come up ever again. Even if you're subscribed to a channel, we talk about this. Sometimes videos don't get out to people that are subscribed to it. But I guarantee you, if you're going to your YouTube homepage and you're getting a heavy dose of something, that means you clicked on something similar to it. Even if it's not specifically about that, it's similar enough that it's sitting there going, okay, so you're like, for example, and I've talked about this, I use this exact analogy. I like to watch a lot of music reactions. And you can watch this in real time, by the way. If you don't believe me, run this experiment yourself. Do it on your own YouTube. Go pick a category. Let's say, for example, pick something innocuous, something that normally doesn't come up on your thing. Pick a home renovation topic. Pick how to set up drywall. Just pick anything, something random. Watch 2 or 3 videos. You don't have to watch them all the way through. Just watch a couple of minutes. 2 to 3 videos. You're going to find suddenly a bunch of home improvement and renovation channels are suddenly going to appear on your homepage, like immediately. With the
You're going to know how to install a toilet in no time.
Bingo. But why would that suddenly come up? Because you selected a couple of consecutive home improvement and home reno channels. So the algorithm say, oh, you must be into home improvement and home reno. And it makes that, well, one thing you can do also, by the way, if you want to see how this experiment works in reverse, in your YouTube, you can go in and you can check out your watch history. Like you can go into a little section and see the watch history. If you delete those home reno ones, so let's say you watch 3 or 4 of them in a row, You can delete them from your watch history and then refresh your homepage, and all of a sudden the homepage is back to the way it was set up before. It is reflective almost in real time to what you're watching. So when I decide to watch a bunch of music reactions, guess what, Eric? I get a heavy dose of music reactions on my homepage almost immediately. All kinds of, it's going to show me that. And then I can reset it and I can bring it on, I can bring it off. I like watching reactions from time to time, but I don't want to watch them all the time. So when I want it to reduce, I take some of them off my watch history, and then suddenly it resets and it shows me something else. So if you're watching, I joked about it on Friday, I am a peddler in drama. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes. But I enjoy it. I get a kick out of it. But the thing is, if you don't want that, then don't click on it. I assure you, if you do not click on it, if you avoid it for a little while, it'll just cycle through. Go watch, collection showcases. Go watch cat videos. Anything else you want. Pick something. Do the home rental thing.
Mail day or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Go for that. Yeah. And I promise you, it will adjust fairly quickly. It won't take, you don't have to watch 1,000 videos to get it to adjust. It'll take maybe 5 or 6. And then the next time you refresh your homepage, you're going to get a heavier dose of that. It's not going to clear everything, but it will actually adjust it a little bit closer to what you're looking for.
Yeah, all your social media works that way. YouTube, your Instagram, everything. I have like 3 hobbies. My Instagram account, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. There's nothing else on there. I don't get cat videos because I don't look for cat videos. I look for cycling.
Yet.
You are now, because it's going to hear you saying it.
I look for cards, and then I have another hobby which I'm going to keep to myself.
Chocolate sticks.
Possibly. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Those are the 3 things that are on there all the time. So that's how it works. So if you don't like what you're seeing popping up, it's because you asked for it. So stop asking for it. You won't see it anymore.
Yeah, YouTube's it real quick. I'm just going to add this. YouTube's algorithm is specifically, when we say algorithm, what it's actually trying to do is actually trying to encourage you to watch longer. It's trying to increase your watch time. So it's trying to feed you what it thinks based on your watch history, recent watch history. Because if you were into something before and now suddenly you're switching over and watching something else, it's thinking, oh, well, we want to keep you watching longer to play more ads and to do whatever. Even if you're on premium, it's still charging a certain amount. But the point is, it's trying to be like, we want to increase your watch time. So if you're watching this, we're going to feed you more of that or something similar to it that we think you'll keep you watching.
Yep. That's why I brought it up, because you said there were so many people saying, the drama and everything's got me down and this and that.
Even people were making videos. That's the only reason I brought it up, is that some people were making videos about it. And again, Brandon, I watch them because I get a kick out of it. I'm amused. So I have no problem with that. It's completely fine. And again, I'm not telling anybody how to feel. You feel however you want to feel. That's your business. But what I'm getting at is that if it genuinely, actually gets you down, if it legitimately is causing you great hobby depression, my answer to you is, okay, then watch some drywall videos or some cat videos or whatever. Pick something. Anything
I noticed it distinctly on mine, and I figured that my channel is there's 3 topics that if I do a video on, it will get views. Mm-hmm. But if I go outside of those 3 topics, no matter what people say they want to see, the views just aren't there. So, and I've accepted that. I'm still going to do whatever the hell I feel, choose to do, whether people watch it or not. But I have recognized and accepted what 3 topics my channel is formed around that people will actually pick up and watch the videos of. So
sure. And so to bring it around though, the last couple of pickups there. So the first one I had actually had for a little while because I actually sent it into PSA grading through COMC. So it took a while for the cycle to cycle through and come back to me. So that's fine. But then the other 2 I purchased, literally one of them I purchased today, and the other one I purchased just the other day. And I think it's about to arrive at ship my cards in the next day or 2. So I have the image, but I'll have it there shortly. But right now, because the AEW SP game used is brand new, I've got my save search and everything, and I'm trying to find the singles to scratch off my checklist. And what's funny, Eric, is in the other YouTube channel that I was talking about, that is kind of a side hobby for me that I have a lot of fun with. Somebody actually reached out after watching one of the videos, and they said, hey, I got something you might be interested in. So they were reaching out earlier today, and we were going back and forth, and we came to numbers that worked. And actually, I'll share it because it should be in the mail in the next day or two, and it is inside Canada, so I should get it a little bit quicker. And it is for the dentist PC, but it is a very, very nice piece. Where if everything comes according to pass, it is one that I hadn't even seen had been made available in the marketplace that was made available to me. So I was very pleased to see it, and it's going to be another nice piece to add to the collection. So my point is, in the course of all this, with all the shilling and all the rest of this, so this is a private deal, Eric. They just reached out to me. They showed me. We looked it over. We just coming up with a price that we agreed with, and then sent the money, and then they've got the address info, and then I should get my stuff, and we'll keep an eye on it. And we did it goods and services. So we took care of all our, make sure we covered all our bases. But at the end of the day, the hobbying continues. It just goes on unabated. But I collect all kinds of stuff. I'm not just fixated on one thing. I have little waves of time where I'm going to focus on one collection versus another. I still had my Medano that came in the other day. I'm still collecting them, but I got most of the stuff that I need. So I'm just looking for cool stuff. But then if something really interesting comes by the pipeline, yeah, that's cool. That only came about though as a result of the YouTube channel. What's funny is the secondary YouTube channel is the one that it resulted in that card even being made available to me because it hadn't been on eBay. I hadn't seen it anywhere. So it was kind of interesting that they reached out and they said like, oh, this is weird. Like, yeah, I'm not far from where you are. And I happen to have this card. I didn't really need it for the collection. I came across it, but yeah, I'd like to offer it to you if you'd be interested. And I go, yeah, I would. So all's well then as well. So like I said, we'll see and I'll circle around.
Yeah, let's hope it all works out the right way.
Yeah, so I'll keep an eye on it and I'll give everybody an update. But as like I said, I'll save it for when everything arrives. I'll take a look and make sure everything's cool. That's why you do goods and services, by the way. If you don't know the person specifically, goods and services gives you a little added protection. Yep. It was worthwhile just taking that extra precaution. So we made sure we did that, and they were agreeable to that. So that was good. So we'll go from there. Next step, we'll be seeing everything. But the point is, the collecting and hobby goes on unabated. It's up to you, man. Like you make as much or as little of this as you want. You want the hobby to depress you, well then fine. You're going to be depressed. Then I have unfortunate news to tell you, Brandon. The bad stuff isn't going to stop happening just because you don't want it to, and it's harshing your mellow.
I hate it when it hushes my mellow.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. And by the way, that doesn't mean being blind. That doesn't mean pretending nothing bad ever happens. That's not what I'm talking about either. What I'm talking about is no, accept the reality is reality. But then at the same time, like, take precautions. Now you know. read the auction terms and conditions. Maybe you want to know, take the extra minute and pay attention to that. It might be worthwhile. That's it. That's just suggestions. So like I said, I'll include a link in the description to that conversation with Billy. And then we'll have a follow-up conversation with him later on. The next conversation we had though, will be more focused on the PC because I do think some people would be interested in seeing somebody who works at Upper Deck who does actually collect the cards as well, has put together their own collection and might be interested in seeing some of those items. So I think that'll be good. So I think that's it for that piece for now. I've got one other thought for after, but Brandon, why don't we go just for fun? By the way, Eric, if you want, based on time, if you want to kind of hop off, Brandon and I can keep talking.
I got a few more minutes.
Okay. So Brandon, why don't you tell us a little bit about, you've had some fun experiences lately. Is there any of the things that you would like to discuss or bring up? Now's an open moment if you wish.
Which one are you referring to?
Oh, pick one. Pick one.
Well,
go for it.
All right. I'll throw the obvious out there that Eric enjoyed me talking about.
Sure.
So you mentioned the hobby continues. I've been buying a lot since getting back home from the expo, whether it be the eBays or the COMCs. And my collecting is pretty simple, really. I mean, I don't collect, 5-6 figure cards. I collect, barely $5 cards mostly. So COMC has been, once I bit the bullet and started utilizing the platform, it's been great for my little, side projects or just, finding pieces of players that I collect on there. And my strategy has always been, build up a bulk amount, 100, 150 cards, cash them out, send them home. It's like $9. Everything was good. So I go on today, my funds are down, getting close to being at the level where I had enough for the shipping left. I go to ship and come to find out the shipping now, my cheapest option is $25. And apparently
Brandon has been upcharged, Eric. He's been upcharged.
I got upcharged, yeah. And so I was like, am I remembering, and I went back and checked, and no, the last several times that I've shipped cards home, it was $8.99. So in all honesty, you know, if I was buying more, you know, 10 to 20, $30 cards regularly, it would make more sense. But when literally 70% of what I have on there is $5 or less. And some people may think that's stupid, but you know, getting into the hockey stuff, and you can find a lot of the e-pack stuff. Me and Carlos, we were talking about it earlier.
Mhm.
A lot of the inserts, you know, people are pulling them out of e-pack. They slap them on COMC. The prices are very reasonable, especially considering what wax cost. And it's just a nice way to build your collection. But when I'm looking at it, is it worth that shipping expense on those the lower end? That's where the questions are gonna, like, I'm gonna have to look at some things, because realistic, there could be an eBay seller that might combine shipping, and I might be able to get a bunch of stuff from an eBay seller for, you know, $5 shipping or whatever. So it's something I'm gonna have to look at, and compare what the availability for what I'm looking for and all of that, because I ship stuff to the West Coast all the time, and I know it's not $25 to ship me a box of cards. You know,
Mhm.
it's just not. So that's very disappointing, but it also goes back to kind of the topic and the you know, the speculation on the position that COMC's in. This might be a play of them trying to raise some funds to keep the light bill paid. I don't know. But it was just very disappointing. So that was one topic. The other one I thought that I brought up to the guys, I think it's an interesting one, and I would like to hear everyone's opinions, including the chat, because I was struggling in my brain, battling, like self-battling myself with this. But I picked up a bunch of the Walking Dead stuff from Heritage Auctions, and two of the pieces, one being the iPod. It is a first generation iPod. So it was released in 2001, I believe, making it 24 years old. My assumption is it still has the original battery, and the show was filmed, season 7 was filmed probably sometime late 2015, early 2016.
Mhm.
So the item had been unused throughout this whole time, and the battery obviously is super dead. Um, Looking at things, I'm very worried about attempting to even try to charge the battery, being that old, being that dead. There's a risk of swelling and explosion, and then the whole, you know, the whole item's damaged. And then the pregnancy belly, which is Eric's favorite,
Mhm.
it has two spots on it that I'm not sure if it was production damage or damage by handling and shipping. I've talked to Heritage about it. I sent them photos, and they agreed that it's definitely damaged, and they want to offer professional repair of it. Now, my battle has been coming from the card side and all of the topics of restoration and this, that, and the other, and little dealings with movie prop, memorabilia, that kind of stuff. Is this is this taking away from the authenticity, you know, the 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 original state of what the items were in? And I was reading some articles before we got on, and it actually sounds like it's a common practice. It's actually a necessity almost to restore or repair these items, because they do sometimes degrade or suffer, you know, damage over time, and people prefer them to stay in presentable condition to display and all of that. So I would like to hear other people's thoughts. Should I send it back and get it repaired? And should I replace the battery in the iPod? I'm not planning to use the iPod, but it would be really awesome to know if it still contains the original playlist. And from all the research I did, even swapping out the battery, that won't affect the hard drive, the software in the hard drive. So I'm very curious if it's still on there. And it would be cool, if it was in working condition. So I think I've kind of made my mind up where I'm at on it now. I have, like I said, been battling it because I'm looking at it from the card angle, but I would love to get other people's opinions on it. And just for clarity, the pregnancy belly has two, it's like cuts along the top of it. I don't know if it's from the way they packed it and shipped it, or if it was from her wearing it and usage and all of that. Either way, my fear is long term it getting worse and beginning to come apart. But they said that they are capable of professionally repairing it. So
just to be clear, in the spirit of full transparency here, because some folks watch some episodes and not necessarily others, the entire conversation Brandon was having there was related to the Walking Dead movie memorabilia that he had purchased from Heritage in a previous episode. So when he's talking about pregnancy belly, it isn't just some weird thing that we would be talking about on Friday. So there is a specific, thing related to it. Now it could still be that, but it's specifically related to the Walking Dead in this particular instance.
Yeah,
it's an important clarification, Eric. We got to make a clarification.
No, that's true. That's true. Because if it was Friday, God only knows.
If it was Friday, it'd be a completely different conversation.
Yeah. No, this is a real thing at the moment. Yes.
Yes. It is related to something specific, so it's a valid question. Now, do you want to chime in on specifically the restoration piece, because we're talking about movie memorabilia here? We know that basically what Brandon's referring to, just to summarize, in cards, the whole Kurt's card care thing and all that brought it into the discussion point. And in cards, it is generally frowned upon in the establishment, because obviously as soon as you're doing that, it tends to be done for deceptive purposes, to try to make something look better than it is, to try to do whatever. With props and certain types of memorabilia, with a lot of types of memorabilia, restoration is a lot more common. And sometimes, honestly, some certain types of restoration are done as a preventative measure to prevent the thing from getting damaged long term. It's actually the expectation. Yeah. So like, for the movie Clothes and the item that he's talking about, the pregnancy belly, in this case from the movie, from the TV show, the idea a lot of times is just to preserve it so that it stays, in decent condition over the longer haul. With art, you would restore it. There's certain things that it's kind of accepted practice that you would restore it or preserve it in some way. The iPod's kind of a weird one, though, because it is technically a piece of electronic equipment. But he's right, though, because a lithium-ion battery, eventually can swell, and that can be an issue. So it's not something you necessarily want to leave alone. It's something you may want to be like, it's just from, you don't want to wake up one day and suddenly it's damaged because the thing exploded and it caused an issue. We're not talking about an explosion that's going to take down your house, but we're talking about something that's going to damage the item. It's literally going to damage it. So it's something you do kind of have to be mindful of, because we're still talking about a battery.
My opinion is changing a battery out in an iPod is a good thing. If you get it to work and you can show off the playlist that's in it, and it comes with a story, and I would do that in a heartbeat. I don't think there's anything wrong with changing the battery out and making the prop functional again. Like we said earlier, if it was 3 AAA batteries, you would take those out and put 3 new AAA batteries in, and no one would say, well, those aren't the original AAA batteries.
Right.
So I don't see an issue with that at all. If the pregnancy belly got damaged in shipping, which seems to be the case because the auction house is willing to have it repaired, I don't see a problem with that either. I mean, that, it's a prop that, well, I mean, it had a certain purpose and look in the TV show,
but you didn't see the actual item,
right? So I don't see I don't see an issue with having that repaired either.
Now, I will say though, I will add one thing. I don't have an issue with it either because right now, like I said, we're talking about a battery. It is something that can get damaged. It is something that you have to kind of bear in mind. It is kind of an issue that can crop up, which can damage your very item that you're trying to that is a collectible for you. You're trying to hang on to it for that purpose.
So here is what the damage is it's like the silicone area. It's on both sides. Basically looks the same on both sides there. The cut part right there.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm like
Now,
concerned with it, because if I displayed it, I'm worried that the weight of the belly would pull that more and damage it more. So
let's touch on the two things separately real quick. I just want to make sure I touch on both. So for the one item, we're talking about a professional, having it professionally repaired. The idea of having a professional repair also means it comes with documentation.
right.
So as far as I'm concerned, that right there is okay because you actually have the documentation for it and it's part of the package. If down the road you want to ever sell it, hey, here it is. This is all part of the piece. I'll use the example. I'll just use an example from a different collectible sphere. Watches. A lot of times people have questions about that. Is it okay to polish them? Is it okay to repair them? The answer is oftentimes yes. It's better to have it done professionally. It's better to have it done by somebody who knows what they're doing because then it preserves it because it's a mechanical piece. It can run a very long time if you take care of it, if it's treated well and it's maintained. But it's mechanical. At some point, that means if you want to maintain it, somebody has got to open it up and like put oil back in it. These are all part. So technically, you've opened it. Oh my god! But it's like the only way it's going to be functional in the long haul is if it's taken care of and maintained. When it comes to that, again, for the one item, if it's professionally repaired, well, it's professionally repaired. You have documentation. With the iPod thing, if you're replacing the battery, I don't think there's any issue with that. The only thing I would do is just document it. I would just have that information included as part of it because at the end of the day, it's a preventative measure to make sure you don't have a damaged item down the road. You don't want it to be broken later because you didn't do anything and you left it alone.
Right.
So my answer is yes, but document.
From the way it looks, I went online, watched the video of how you even do it. It doesn't seem too intrusive either. It's like a tool that you run around the edge and the back like pops off and the battery's right there.
Yep.
Like,
but I would still, like I said, all I was going to say was that is like I don't think it will be, but I think we can all agree that it's still a good rule of thumb to document.
Yep.
If you do it and you document it, well, there you go. You've given the provenance. Now you understand how it got from there to you, and then from you to the state it's in. Again, you're not necessarily looking to move it anytime soon, but if down the road you did, just having that little piece of documentation, I think is valid. I think at least it gives it like, oh, why is it like? Here's exactly why it's like that. That information is all included. Again, transparency, right? We talk about this with the auction house. We talk about everything. The word transparency, I think, covers all this ground. It's like, be transparent. Yes, we did it, but we did it for a good reason. Here's why, and here's some photos and information. It's all here. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. That's my take.
Yeah, I just thought it would be a good topic because I'm curious to hear people's opinions on it. I'm not looking to move it at all. That's a key to it. This, the belly portion itself, I'm more just I don't want it to get worse. And so that's why I contacted them, because if that's like from production when they were, she was out there running around and everything else, and that's what happened, and it's, just been that way, then I'd be like, okay, it's probably going to survive. But if it's like that and that wasn't part of it, then I'm concerned with, okay, is it going to get worse? Is it going to start tearing more and everything? And I would prefer if they are capable of professionally repairing it. And I'm assuming they have people or a company or something, they're dealing with high-end memorabilia stuff like that all the time. So I'm assuming they have someone pretty damn knowledgeable on how to do that stuff, or they might even have AMC themselves do it. I don't know, but it would be better than me trying to, sit here and figure out a way to keep it from getting worse, I guess. So I just had to overcome the card brain of, no, we say it's bad for cards, but okay, I get the point here. And it's that weird mentality. And I think we've discussed it, like, just because they clean comic books don't mean it's right in cards. But people try to use that comparison as, well, they do it here, it should be okay here. But I think we have to accept there's different collectibles and different reasonings for the type of, things being done. So
Well, they
Right.
they clean and restore and add paint and everything to multi-million dollar paintings, but that doesn't mean we should take cards and put them in water and iron them and flatten them and push out the creases and do that in this hobby. So
and
there's
I
different standards in everything.
I think there was a key mention though with the documentation and continuing on the provenance. We know that doesn't occur. Like even in comics, if there's a restoration, they get like a different label. You know, I think we know in cards that that just isn't the case. People are doing it with the intent of being deceptive to increase the value. And that's where the issues arise and it's frowned upon so much. I think if we had a case where it was documented, somebody had a 52 mantle and there was a way to make it more presentable. It doesn't mean necessarily it's going to increase in value, but it looks nicer and it was stated that, this occurred, maybe it would be more accepted. But there's just, I mean, hell, we see all the shenanigans that are going on anyway. I don't think people would stick to the rules. I don't think it would stay documented. So
I think that's fair. I think that's reasonable. So I've got one more thing that I want to touch on, but Eric, if you want to flee for the moment, I think we can. I think we can carry this side of the conversation, and it'll give me an excuse to do an AMG plug. So if you want to run for the hills, now's your chance.
I'm gonna go watch the Patriots game, spend some time with my mom, and I wish you guys a good night, and everyone that's watching this Tuesday and forward. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll check you guys out later.
Excellent.
All right, bye-bye, guys.
tell Miss Kathy hi.
I will. Thank you very much.
And now we make fun of him mercilessly, without mercy. All right, I do have a topic that I think we can briefly go back and forth on, and it actually plays into the AMG plug. So it's perfect timing. I've been putting the scrolling ticker across the bottom. So obviously AMG is a big supporter of the channel and the podcast, and we appreciate it as always. So amgcollectibles.ca, AMG Collectibles YouTube channel. But specifically, this week is the cup. It's a big one. It's a big one. So that's why I said I thought this would be an appropriate thing to discuss. So a couple of things about this. So real quick, obviously, Steve, the Collector Scallops, Collector People, myself, and Blair will discuss this. This is the ultimo release of the hockey calendar. And even better, Brandon, this is about 6 months since the last cup release because they finally got caught up. This is the current day. This is this is the Celebrini. We are now up to Celebrini.
So
we have
this
arrived.
is 4 or 5.
I believe that's right. Yes.
Because
whatever Celebrini is
the 5-6 guy, right?
Hold on. I got a Celebrini that I pulled from that box. Yeah, 4 or 5. So
okay.
it is a Celebrini. This is the Celebrini year and the Celebrini one. So we are up to current day, so to speak. So it's big. That's a big release as a result of that. So obviously Celebrini is doing extremely well. I think he and Bedard are both right neck and neck, and they're both second in scoring right now as we speak. So this is I'll be big time. So obviously that's going to help. Good timing. The guy's playing well, and his cup RPA is nigh. We are days away. So this is big. As a result of it, though, that also means, well, Brandon, the box price is not, let us say, #affordable.
No.
It is very aggressive. Now, obviously, the cup and such products have always been feast or famine. That's a big part of it. But this is going to be one of the highest. This is right up there because I can tell you right now, I was looking at David Adams a little bit earlier, so I'll use them as an example. Obviously, there's more options, but I can try to give you at least an idea. David Adams the cup. And right now, as we speak, David Adams Card World, the newest iteration of the cup that is due to release this week at David Adams right now is $1,509.95 USD pre-order. That's a spicy meatball, sir.
Yeah.
The spicy meatball.
That's up, what, 20% approximately?
I'd have to double check what last year's was, but it's up. It's up there. Like it's very strong. So it's one of those things where you can get, just for contrast, David Adams does have obviously other years. So last year's they've got it at $14.99, so it's almost identical. but obviously 23, 24 has already been out for 6 months. So you've got some stuff, you know what's going on there. But if you're feeling like bargain hunting, you can get 22, 23 the cup for $900. I don't, you know, I have
Seems
to
like
look
a
at
bargain when you look at the
hey, that's the Matty Berniers. Beniers.
yeah.
There you go.
And the
Hashtag
funny
bargain.
thing is I think Shane Wright has become the higher priced rookie from that Kraken class.
Yeah. Oh, Wyatt Johnson is on there.
Yeah, I'm still torn on him. I actually was talking to him about him the other day with the wife. I think he's baked in at star status and still he's doing good this year, but I'm not sold at his prices. So
Yeah. And if you want a $6 case, it's only $9,000.
yeah, I'll pass.
Charge your cards. Oh, come on. Anyway, so bottom line. So the reason I wanted to bring it up, obviously, it is the new product that's going to be coming out. So we'll talk about it. As I said earlier, it's feast or famine because the cup product always is. But at $1,500, kind of, you know, pre-sale, 1,500 US. The Canadian one, in a couple of places I've seen, is a little bit higher. So in Canadian dollars, we actually get a little bit of a break. So in relative terms, but either way, it's very expensive. Like, look, however you want to slice this, even because I think the one shop I was looking at was like 1,700 and change, but with taxes, Brandon, it's $2,000. Like, how do you want me to slice this? It's $2,000. It's a lot of money. However you want to put this. So I think it's very interesting because as a result of this, we came up with all these excuses. The Bedard tax, you can't blame on this one. I'm sorry.
No.
Bedard's already had a couple of seasons now. And by the way, Bedard is playing well. So, good on him as well. So that's been nice for him. But it's like, no. And this isn't like just celebrating. It's like, guys, the price is going to keep steadily increasing as time has gone on. It has been steadily increasing. Obviously, we've had big jumps and then kind of retractions, but it does continue to move up. But Brandon, I think what this does, and it's already been in progress, but it goes back to the whole thing about escalating costs. We can't blame this one on show bidding. that isn't, but nonetheless, we still have escalating costs. And the result of that is the downstream impact. Because if the box price is so expensive, how much is it per card? And then when the person goes to put stuff up on eBay, well, how much are they going to have to ask for in order to try to get their money back because they paid so much up front?
Yeah,
it affects the entire ecosystem.
Yeah, it's put an imbalance. And like we've sat and said, you know, why is this rookie worth more than somebody from the 50s? You know, this Hall of Famer with 500 plus home runs in baseball, yada, yada. But when you're looking at relative terms and costs versus product, it's putting an imbalance even over the last 10 years because you might have a guy that I don't know what is like an Austin Matthews. Like I don't want to compare to McDavid, but you're looking at someone like Matthews, and I'm not saying that Celebrini's going to come out and be the same price, but he's going to be much higher likely than Matthews was when Matthews was a rookie. And it's just relative cost of the product is different today.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks and it doesn't make a lot of sense, but at the same time, we know as things go up, the current values are going to go higher than what we've seen on previous players.
Yeah. I think what's interesting on this, and like I said, to your point, as the price escalates in it, and we're starting off at higher and higher numbers, the issue that comes as a result of it is that, yes, partially sellers are going to try to get their money back in one shot. It does create an imbalance, and it throws the pecking order out of whack. So that maybe this is what I was specifically trying to hit on. It throws the pecking order out of whack. To your point about the Austin Matthews thing, there are rookies that are going to go in there that are going to be almost as high, even if not exactly as high, as like a Connor McDavid was when he first came out. Mm-hmm. Connor McDavid is obviously super high, but now it's been so long since his initial time, the box price has increased by so much that there are going to be a lot of like decent players who are going to be at least pushing up to a decent fraction of what he was charging, where back then it wouldn't have made any sense. That number would not have made any sense. And that's reflective of the way this product comes out, and it pushes the price of everything up because even the veterans and some of the other ones, you're going to try to squeeze a little extra money out of those to try to get your money back. Because I'm looking at it right now, just the breakdown. The box or the tin is 6 cards. So you got 6 cards per pack is basically what they're coming out to. Wow. So if I take our number and we're talking 1,500, so I'm going to round down. It's actually 1,510, but I'll round down just for the sake of this conversation. I'm talking $250 US per card is what you are paying. That is your cost per card, no matter what. And by the way, that includes your base card.
I was
That
just going to
includes-
say one of those is a base card.
Yes, it is. That's included in your $250 card average, Brandon. You were so far behind the 8 ball right at the beginning. You're almost forced to do you're kind of forced to go by the case, aren't you?
But
Like-
even then, I mean, a case is 610s at well, you said 1,500. So you're at $9,000.
Yep.
If
It's still 250 per card. It didn't change. Like, you didn't get a deal because it was a case. You actually paid the same amount. So
but
in reality,
it's not guaranteed that your case hit is going to be anywhere. Like, you might hit a rookie. What are the lower tier or the better tier rookies are out of 99, right?
yeah, the higher ones.
And then it's 249 for the other guys. So
yeah, there.
you might hit a rookie out of 99, but it's not necessarily going to get you in that $9,000 range.
No, absolutely not. So Brandon, I'm not even talking about that. What I'm referring to is you're still paying $250 per card. Even at the case level. The idea of the case is in the hopes that the case hit goes above that average. The problem is, remember, in our 610s, we've got 6 base cards, Brandon. That brings our average way up.
Oh yeah, yeah.
and then we're hoping our case hit will bring it down a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, your hopes is 2 shields,
Something wacky. You
a
need something.
101. Yeah, like, I don't know. There's people that play in that game. They got big cojones. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
The fat wallets and big cojones, because it would be difficult. Like, I think even if I was extremely wealthy and enjoyed cards, I would still, and maybe your mind changes with your bank account, but
Bro, have you seen what it did to Eric? You think he was always like this? My God.
yeah, the guy's buying Bobby Orr. He doesn't want the one single card. He's buying 6 of them now to make a puzzle,
That's right.
Um,
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the way you look at it is different when your bank account, is different. But I don't know, like, even I was playing in cases that were $900, and it sucked if you didn't hit anything good, So I couldn't imagine gambling away and that's all that is, gambling away $9,000. You can't say you're a set builder because you're not going to come close to the set on 610s. Yeah, that's a different ball game.
So let me ask you a question, because let me kind of play into this for a second. That's why I say this is just a conversation we're having here at the tail end of the episode. And if you folks listening have any thoughts or comments on that, feel free. I understand you may not be interested in hockey. I understand you may not be interested in this particular product, but I think the theme, the concept, I think still works. I think it still resonates. And let me give you a thought, something else to chew on here. One of the things that I was talking about with Billy, we were going back and forth on a lot of the stuff related to it. Again, we were talking about the wrestling cards, but guess what? He works at Upper Deck. It's the same concept. It's the same principle. And he's going to be answering questions about the Cup coming shortly as well. So that's, it's one of the other products he works on. So the concept still translates over. One of the things that we talked about was the idea of expectation versus value proposition on the boxes. I didn't phrase it exactly that way, but that's really what we were talking about. We were talking about the first AEW product that came out, and we were talking about the secondary market getting carried away with it. And what they did is they pushed the product into multiples of what it was designed to be. It was a flagship product, but it was designed to have a value somewhere in the $100 range ish, or even a little less. But then people were charging upwards of $300. Because this was pandemic period, everything was boosted to the moon. Well, Brandon, if I've got a box designed to be $100 box, give or take, and I'm paying $300 for it, my expectation of a $300 box is different than my expectation of a $100 box.
Mm-hmm.
So when I pull the cards and it doesn't match, I'm going to be even more disappointed. I'm going to be even more upset than I would have been if I had bought the box at 100 and gotten the exact same contents. Translated over to this conversation here. So bringing it over. Every single time we increase the price of the cup, you can't add enough value to offset the difference as you keep escalating it, because the cup was always the high end product. It always was. And back in the day, the cup was like $400 a tin. Well, now we're at $1,500 a tin. And as that price keeps escalating, yeah, you can add a couple of more. Okay, we've got a couple more game used subsets. Okay, cool. We got a couple more Gretzky autos. Yeah, but most of you aren't going to get those. So like,
Well,
it enhances value, but doesn't fix the problem.
no, and the thing that we have to remember, and I think people forget, you can add Gretzky autos, you can add Ovechkin autos, you can add McDavid autos, but every time you do that, you're just adding more to the pool of availability. And although it's still going to have a strong value, over time, the more you put in as available, it's actually deflating the value of it because it's the supply demand thing. So it's not a solution to the problem. You know, it makes it nice that you get a great name in the product,
Mhm.
but it doesn't secure that you're getting your value return.
Yeah. And kind of playing into the other thing that I was referring to as well, though, the other piece of the puzzle is that value, the extra zeros at the end of it, do have an impact. So let me use the example you gave. You talked about a case that at that point was $900, which again, let's be fair, let's be clear about this. That's still a lot of money. But we're talking about for a case, and for your situation, it made sense, and you got enough boxes out of it, and you could spread out. You and the missus could have a lot of fun opening the boxes,
Yep.
and that's where you're getting your entertainment. So yes, it was an expense, but it was an expense that you could spread out, and the two of you could open packs and boxes and have a little fun with it and whatever. That's fine. But imagine for a moment though, you open that $900 case, and you add everything up, you keep some cards, you do whatever, and in the end, you find about $800 worth of value. Okay, you didn't get your money back, but it's not the end of the world.
Right.
Now, take my $9,000 case, and you pull a couple of decent cards, and in the end, you find $8,000 worth of value. Technically, it's the same, but does it feel the same?
No.
No. But technically, Brandon, percentage-wise, it was the same return because all I did was add the zero. I went from 900 to 9,000, and I went from 800 to 8,000. The percentage, the ROI was exactly the same, but you're feeling $1,000 loss versus $100 loss.
Yep.
It feels completely different.
Exactly. And the other side to it is when I was saying I was opening $900 cases, it wasn't 6 card boxes. I mean, let's be realistic. I mean, you could make an advent calendar out of that, and you're that's about all you're going to get. You can look at one card a day, and to make it to slow roll it for the season, that's not fun.
Base card.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I know everything is going up in price, like, all around us, everything is getting more expensive, but where does it, like, how do we solve this? Like, do we make the tins 3 cards and cut the price in half? And then people say, oh, you made more product because there's a bunch more tins. I mean, what could be the solution really? Because, and I know we've had this discussion, because no matter what, you're getting the same result, but mentally it would feel a little bit different, I guess, if you're paying $750,
Yeah.
I mean,
say it with me, Brandon. Say it with me. Powerball.
Yeah.
You asked for a solution. I didn't say it was a particularly good solution, but say it with me. Powerball.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of the same results.
The only real way to fix it is just become ridiculously wealthy, and then you don't care. That's about it. You have to basically be at that point.
So I'm trying to think here. I'm trying to do math real quick in my head. 9,000.
Yeah.
30 teams. So break spots, even if it was equal random teams, you're still at 300 a spot, right?
You'd be somewhere in that vicinity. I can give you at least an idea.
Well, that's the
Like,
break. That's for the breaker to break even on a $9,000
yeah,
case.
yeah. But
So
what
it'd be a
so
little bit
I can give
more.
you, I can actually give you kind of so GP Sports Cards is going to do a ton of breaks for the cup. So I can give you a bit of an idea. So let me see if I can find a team. We don't want to do picking. We want team. We basically want random
Yeah, just
teams.
a straight random team.
Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna be looking here. So bear with me a minute. I'll try to figure it out because I know by teams, certain teams obviously are very expensive. I did
Right.
see one actually. It was funny. I did see one where like the Dallas one, the Dallas slot was like 550, 600 Canadian, just for that one
Ooh.
slot. And you only get and you only get 36 cards to hit something. I'm
Well,
like,
that was my other
woohoo.
point, because you know over the course of the case you're going to have some teams hit multiples, and so there's
Yeah,
people that are
of
going to
course.
be just out of a few $100. So, and then you got the 6 people that'll get their base card. You know.
All right, I found one. So for example, so like I said, I'm not promoting them, but I'm just using as an example for our purposes. So we've got a 24-25 cup 6 box master case. So team random. So this is your team random here. 359 Canadian. So 359 Canadian, and we have 32 teams. Let me do a little quick math here. The
Oh, I said
32.
30 teams. That's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're talking 359, and again, we're not counting taxes. We're just doing this. So that's $11,488.
Okay.
So that's what you're looking at. But you're looking at.
That
But think
even
about
makes
this
the
way.
odds worse because I was basing it on 30 and it's 32, and
Hmm.
you got 36 cards, so you might as well figure 10 people are probably at least 10 people aren't going to get anything. If I had to guess.
Yep. And that's team random because whatever you pull from that team, and again, what you could pull from the team could just be a base card, and you pay
Yeah.
359. And by the way, that we have to include taxes. Like realistically, when we're doing that, like I did it without, but for the sake of this conversation, just to be more real, from where I am, it would be $405.67. To be over $400 for a random spot, one of 32.
For actually 30 cards, because we might as well not even count the base cards. I mean, I don't know I haven't looked. I don't know what
It's
cup
one base
base
card per
cards.
10. One base card per 10.
Right, but what are the values on them? 10, $20
They're
maybe?
at a 2 for 9. Yeah, if you get like a decent player, it'd be like $10 at least at the beginning.
Okay, so we're
Yeah,
gonna count it at 30 cards. Because I
yeah,
mean, when you're spending that kind of money, if you get a $10 card back, it's not too fun. So
yeah. Well, the reality though, like if we're being honest, even as a break, like if we're thinking about that, even as a break,
it's a
I
tough
need
pill to swallow.
300. I need $400 to break even. I need a $400 pull. Brandon, it's not as easy as it sounds to get a $400 card, even out of the cup.
What is the average per 10 on autos? Is it 3?
I can double check that for you. Give me 1 minute here. I actually still have the tab open, so I can answer that question. Okay, so let me tell you. So here's what to expect in Hobby Box. This is in a tin/Hobby Box. This is what to expect. So you get one rookie autograph patch card per box, one additional autograph memorabilia, book card, or printing plate. So you got 2 autograph cards there. So 3 autographs. You get 3 autographs per
Yeah,
tin.
okay.
So half the cards in the tin are autographed in some capacity. And then there is memorabilia cards/base/inserts, printing plates, and redemption cards, 2 of those, and then 1 official base card. So wait, you could get a tin with 2 base cards? Oh no. Yeah, based on well, if I'm reading that correctly, because the base card was at the bottom, and then it says memorabilia cards, comma, base, comma, inserts, comma, printing plates, and redemption cards, 2 total. So you could technically get a second base card. Now you shouldn't because the cup should be a pack out product if memory serves me. And if somebody over
Yeah.
there intentionally packed in something with 2 base cards, Brandon, there'll be fire flames. They will be smooten by the
Yeah,
hobby
like
gods.
I mean, and I get we're talking this through, and there's people out there
It's
that are like,
hypothetical. Yeah,
screw
look,
it, take my money,
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
we have to also look at this in a responsible, realistic manner. The shit's expensive.
Yeah.
And I wonder, and I know there's things that can't be disclosed, and you mentioned Billy talking about the value proposition and trying to make it to where it's not such a killer, deal when somebody's opening a box and they don't just get hammered with a complete loss.
Yeah.
But it's also impossible because, players are constantly changing and maybe a prospect doesn't do as well as you expect them to do or whatever. So sometimes the losses are just going to happen even unintentionally.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder, since he mentioned that, what like on this product that's packed out, what is their goal for potential value percentage return? Like that would be a curious and interesting number to know. And it doesn't have to be obviously every box because some are going to be way better than others. But what is like their basic average goal that they hope to hit out of each 10? That would be something really interesting to know.
Mm-hmm. Now, one important factor, though, kind of playing into your question, because it would be interesting to know, but obviously, that won't be disclosed. But here's something important to factor in. I don't think you could do it by percentage, because one of your problems is you don't know what the final tin price is going to be, because you, as Upper Deck in this scenario, you can build it out with a certain, MSRP in mind, so to speak.
Right.
You can build it out, but then remember, with the price that we were just talking about, that price came from the manufacturer to distributor to LCS,
Yeah.
LCS to you. So there's already been a couple of layers where this has been tacked on. So you're seeing the result after each one of these layers has had its crack. So that's basically how we arrived at that price. So what was the price 2 layers ago is going to be a different answer than what the price is right now. And here's another factor that's going to come in. And by the way, guaranteed, this is you can book it because it's coming.
The Celebrini factor.
No, but I'm talking even beyond that. That pre-order price that I just told you, that's the pre-order price right now.
Oh yeah,
once the product goes live, because what's going to happen is even GP Sports Card that I just used as our example, they've got a certain allocation of cases, however many cases they've been able to get their hands on, and they can get a pretty decent amount of allocation. They've done pretty well with those in the past. What happens though is when they get through those cases, if they have to restock, the next restock will be much higher. So that number forget the number we just gave you, bump it up by whatever percentage the distributor decides to hit you with.
Yeah, I mean, not to sly away from the cup here, but I've noticed it, and I don't know if others have followed suit, but Fanatics is writing the game plan on profiting off of product. And they're doing these pre-orders, which people are saying, oh, they're selling out so quickly. Let's be real. They're doing a limited allocation on the pre-order. People are buying it up. They know then the product is going to hit secondary market. They can then see secondary market, what that stream is hitting at. So then, like, when, as you said, when LCS or Breakers or whoever have to reorder, they know what number they can get away with because they're seeing what the secondary market values are. So they're like writing the playbook on a master class of how to release a product direct while also still dictating, in a sense, what the values are going to, how to profit more off of it. Instead of the old way of just releasing everything to the distributors and letting the distributors, hoard this stuff and control how the allocations were going out. Fanatics is essentially doing it now with these pre-orders. And they're also, I can't believe how many people are buying the stuff up because they've been releasing stuff and not even giving us any checklists. Like, you don't even know who the hell's in the products and people are still buying it up. And it's like, okay, well, I mean, at some point we can't blame Fanatics because people are still speaking with their wallets, I guess. But yeah.
So real quick, I'll touch on this just at the tail end here. We'll wind her down here in a second. Like I said, I wanted to have a little conversation. I figured we could have a little back and forth because obviously we've talked about this in the past.
I had heard some ramblings, but
and we also open more boxes than Eric does. So like at least it's a little easier for us to have a little back and forth. At least we've opened boxes recently. I opened a box like 2 hours before this live podcast started.
I haven't in a while. I've had the itch. This is probably real. Okay. In the chat, y'all can call me a tightwad. All right. So I was going to buy a case at the expo from,
Scandalous.
I won't put their name, I won't call them out,
Mm.
but I was going to buy a case of Upper Deck Series 1 so I could get the packs, the expo pack.
Mhm.
Was all prepared to do it, but I wanted to use my card. And they were like, well, if you use card, we have to charge you 5% or something for the, I forgot what it was, but
It's
we
actually
have to
pretty high.
charge you an additional percentage for the processing fee. And I was like, what the hell? You're a shop, you know? And so, yes, I let the processing percentage dissuade me from spending monies on opening wax. So
Indeed.
I will admit it.
Yeah. So real quick, I wanted, since you brought it up, I actually thought this would be kind of funny to finish up on. And I'll leave a link in the description if you guys are curious, if you want. Obviously, we've heard about this in the past, but it was kind of funny that it's applicable to this. I don't collect this product, but I think it's still valid to bring up. Okay, so here's from Topps' own thing. So we just talked about, you know, the Cup, Upper Deck, and whatever. Upper Deck still uses distributors for a lot of their stuff. But Topps, obviously, / Fanatics, basically has their own distribution channel. They've kind of cut out the distribution side of it because they kind of control their own distribution. They've got their own ways of getting the product out there. But one of the things they borrowed, and again, like, here's the thing, just to be clear, you've talked about numerous times how, you know, some people believe that, you know, Topps being in there would be better than Panini somehow, but in reality, let's be truthful. If we're using our brains, I'm like, no, companies like making money. The Fanatics overlords like making money, like anybody else. And by the way, Brandon, to be clear, I've already joked about it a million times, but I'm not really joking. If Fanatics overlords cover a big enough check, Brandon, I will sell out so hard. I will be full. I'll be head to toe Fanatics. Go Team Fanatics, but only if the check clears.
Yeah,
you heard me, Ruben. Only if the
they
check
give
clears.
some swag and some
cash
digits,
monies.
Sure.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah, cash money.
Go buy it up.
Yeah. We will sell the hell out of this thing. But in the meantime, we'll just comment on it for our purposes. But right here, it's right here in front of us. Reverse Dutch auction. Let me give a quick reminder for those who forgot what the reverse Dutch auction is. And then we can briefly explain why this is actually the worst way to do it. And in some ways, Brandon, it's worse than what we were just talking about with the cup thing. But let's quickly touch on this. So here, this is for the 25-26 Topps Chrome basketball. They call it first day issue, which is a playoff of the old Stadium Club thing. So that's fine. Okay.
First off the line, too.
Exactly. That's what I'm getting at. That's exactly where I'm going. Yes, that's where I'm going. So, but first day issue has been around. The name was back ye old Stadium Club. It's been around a long time, but they're going to use it as their first off the line, to your point. So here's basically what we're looking at. So right here, as we speak, you can go in there, and they do explain it. So to their credit, they do include the info here. What's a reverse Dutch auction? That is a timed auction format, and the product starts at the divine ceiling price. So it starts up here at whatever the ceiling price is, and then it decreases at certain intervals, and then you can purchase at any time. Well, whatever you picked, on the way down, you're catching the falling knife. So whenever you squeeze your hand to try to catch the falling knife, that's the price you pay. It goes down until it hits some kind of a floor, whatever the floor is. Well, the reality, that means that there will be multiple of you who will be purchasing the exact same box from the exact same thing at different price points.
Yep.
It's a matter of how much. Go ahead.
There's nothing that ensures us that they don't have a floor. I don't know if they stated on there. I think Panini used to have a set floor number that, like, if it hit that, they wouldn't drop it any lower. I don't know if Topps states it or not.
Right.
But let's be honest. There's no way that we would ever know if they just pulled the plug if the number got to the bottom that they really wanted it to be at, because then it helps inflate the rest of it. And again, speaking of earlier, what is this stuff going to hit on secondary market?
Yeah.
I mean, that gives them, and then they can, you know, send it to DA or Fanatics Collect. I mean, hell, they have their own platform and everything. So yeah, they're writing a master class on how to work this.
And my favorite part is, again, to their credit from a moment ago, They do literally explain to you what a reverse Dutch auction
Mhm.
is. They give you the parameters, they give you the rule. So, Brandon, they're not hiding this from you. It's right there
No.
in black and white. I just read it off you off the screen. But right at the end is my favorite part. This is like the ultimate little middle finger at the end of all of it, which is my favorite part. Brandon, I love it on levels. You don't understand how much I'm enjoying it. So it says here, note, this is different from a traditional Dutch auction. So they actually tell you what the alternative is. This is different from a traditional Dutch auction. All buyers pay the same final clearing price. So in case you guys aren't familiar with this, because this did come up, this was happened during the zero cool time period. Because during the zero cool, they did use the Dutch auction as opposed to the reverse Dutch auction. The reverse Dutch auction meaning you're getting the middle finger twice. The traditional Dutch auction is the one where like no. So what happens is actually people can make effectively bids at all these different levels. So say it starts at 1,000 and the floor is 100. I'm just giving you simple numbers just to make it simple. And it drops at these $50 intervals. It doesn't matter if you put your bid at $950 for 10 boxes or whatever. All that means is because you were at the top end of the bid, you're guaranteed to get your 10 boxes. So what it does is it allocates it based on the amount available. And it says if you bid high, you're going to get your boxes for sure. But it still continues to go down until it sells out. And what happens where the traditional Dutch auction is a little bit more fair is that let's say it winds up at $200. That's the final price where the last box in the allocation gets completely cleared. Everybody else, all of you, pay $200.
Mm-hmm.
So even if the guy bid at 950, all that meant is you're guaranteed to get your 10 boxes. But even the $200 guy at the very end, who was the last box, he still gets his box at $200. And the guy at the top gets his 10 boxes at $200. And the person in the middle who bid 500 gets his boxes at $200. Everybody gets $200. So whatever the final price that cleared all the inventory. But in the reverse Dutch auction, if you bet $950, yes, you're going to get your 10 boxes. It's going to be $950. And the guy who got the one box at $200 gets one box, but he gets it at $200. So you have to pay $750 more per box for the privilege.
Yeah, you pay for how bad do you want it.
Correct. It's a FOMO meter. It's a FOMO test.
Yep.
Of your willingness to FOMO. I just got a kick out of that.
I wonder if they have a countdown or like a counter or something that shows the availability, or if it's just a blind.
I think it's just a timer. I think you hide the quantity. I don't think you tell them.
Well, you mentioned the FOMO thing, and you know
Yeah.
that if that number starts ticking down, people are going to start buying it. Like, as crazy as it sounds, but I mean, look at everything that they've done, though. You know, we can talk about Upper Deck and the price of the cup. That is eye-opening because of Upper Deck being in just the hockey space and the wrestling and stuff like that. They don't have their hands everywhere, and they also don't normally have overly expensive products.
Right.
When we look at this, we're talking about Topps Chrome. This is like OPC Premier or OPC Platinum in terms of hockey, or Allure or something like that. It's not a high-end product. It's
the thing is, Brandon, they're trying to. So in reality, what they're telling you, because they're using the Panini reverse Dutch auction thing, they're trying to tell you it's not that. They're trying to tell you it's Prism.
Right. Well, that's my point. What I was getting to.
Yeah.
They're throwing these MLB debut cards, okay, that are hell, the skins broke $1 million. It came out of a Topps Chrome product, Topps Chrome Update. They didn't put it in Dynasty that is expected to be $500, $700 a box or whatever for one card. They didn't put it in that. They put it in this other stuff, and it's because they want to create this hope of higher dreams of being able to pull a very significant card out of a lower end product. Well, all this has really done has now propped the price up of the lower end product. Like it's just drug the price up. It's still your majority of the cards in the product are your normal Chrome, your refractors, all the different rainbows, your rookie autographs, that sort of thing. But because of the addition of that MLB debut, or now the NBA debut, or this reverse Dutch auction thing, and whatever they said, it sounds like this first day issue is some online exclusive iteration of the product.
Well, it's
But
first off the
they're
line. It's a couple of
yeah,
right now. Just looking at it, it's going to be some additional stuff that's exclusive to it. I can pretty much guarantee you, it's just going to be adding in some parallels or something, probably.
yeah, they'll have probably an exclusive parallel or something. But
Yeah, that would be my
they're
expectation.
they're finding all of these different ways to take even the lowest of significant products and making them to where people are going to buy it and it's going to be at an increased value, essentially.
Yeah, it's
So,
been kind of like I said, going back to kind of the theme of the night. Brandon, I'm amused. I'm not going to buy this. This isn't something I'm
nope.
interested in, but I'm not ignorant of it. I can see it. I'll share. We just showed. I'll include a link in the description if you guys want to read the reverse Dutch auction guide.
And
It's included here.
I wonder if I don't want to go too far off topic here,
Yep.
but I was reading some things. I don't know all of the full details of it, but I wonder if the influence from the sports card side of things is also obviously we've seen the Pokemon craze and the wax flipping and all of that over there.
Mm-hmm.
But there was ramblings that GameStop has decided to start selling the Pokemon stuff at the
Yep.
resale prices and not the MSRPs. So it's like injecting itself into the storefronts now as well. And, like I said, I think Fanatics, a lot of what they're doing is enabling the secondary market to establish its price. So then they can say, okay, this is what it's selling for. This is what you can have it for now. And
Mm-hmm.
I can't necessarily say it's a bad business choice because obviously they're they're doing this to make money. They're a business after all, but it does suck for the consumer. Like, it's a catch-22 there. So, but keep buying singles, kids.
Well, it's going to be the chicken or the egg, though. Like, we can have the conversation later because what's going to happen with a lot of the stuff is you keep buying singles might not be viable. This is something I was touching on kind of. We indirectly touched on it with Billy a little bit, but the reality is this. If at a certain point, and this is with any license, I don't care what it is, if the box price becomes so untenable that people shy away from opening the boxes, well, then there are no singles. There is no singles kits to buy. Like, there's nothing to buy. Like, somebody's got to open it. Somebody has to take the hit.
I will tell you, so I mentioned it with EX, how hard it was to find that exceptional Robertson.
Yeah.
That's one, like going back to the COMC conversation earlier, that's one reason why I started utilizing it, because the EPAC influence.
Mm-hmm.
But on terms of Tops or Fanatics, there's a player that I've been trying to buy from Tops Update. And I can tell you the product has been out now for nearly a month and I am having difficulty. There is still several parallels that I would have expected to pop up already of this player. I've not seen them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I haven't figured out, is it people are buying breaks that are like player breaks and if they are getting a player, they're just holding on to them? Or is it just a lack of the product being opened that certain parallels haven't popped up? Because I think I've bought 6 so far, and there's probably 5 others that I've been hunting for, and I check frequently. I have the save search. I go on sort newly listed. Nothing's popping up. So I don't know if we're already seeing it. To your point of if the product's not being open, then it makes it harder to buy the singles, or what the case is. But yeah, it definitely will be, especially with the print runs getting higher and some of these things being harder to pull. With Lex Wax being opened, the less likelihood of them hitting the market will occur. So yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Tough times. And on that bombshell, enjoy your holiday season. It has begun. So we're officially crossed. We're recording this on December the 1st. The episode drops on December the 2nd, so it is officially holiday season. One thing before we go. Brandon, I want your answer, and then I want an answer from anybody who has listened this far into the episode. I want an answer to this question. how soon is too soon on the holiday decorations? And how soon is too soon on the Christmas music? I've got two separate questions. I want your answers, and then I want the answers of the people.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you my answer.
Go ahead.
I prefer to be a after Thanksgiving, then go into the season type person. However,
Mhm.
my wife is a massive Christmas fan, holiday season fan. She loves her movies. Well, I took her, we went to the ice display thing from Polar Express. I got tickets to that for her birthday. And I made an agreement. And she actually went back and looked at pictures last year. And apparently I made the same agreement with her last year.
Mhm.
I told her that as part of her birthday, I would get the stuff out and we would start doing the decorating. And so we did it on the 23rd. So that was the Sunday, few days prior to Thanksgiving. I am after Thanksgiving, it's fair game, but like I said, to be the happy wife, happy life thing, I made the agreement that the day after her birthday we would do it. So
Compromises were made. Fair. Christmas decorations, I'm less militant on. The Christmas music, I joked about it on the AMG podcast. In my household, my mom liked to play the Christmas music year round, Brandon. So it's like nom. I'm no. It's too soon is forever. There is no too soon. They're like no. The answer is no.
I have found it interesting that it even feels like and we're talking about the products and all this other stuff. It feels like even the stores and everything else are starting to decorate earlier and play the music earlier and everything else. I think that at some point on my birthday, which we're both born in July, we might start seeing Christmas shit out in July, and not for Christmas in July. We're pushing our way that way. So
all I have to say is noise canceling. Brandon, I want to go to the grocery store and get my goddamn groceries without being bombarded with rocking around the Christmas tree. Spare me. Noise canceling. Not sponsored, but should be. Not sponsored, but should be.
I want to give everybody a shopping tip.
All right. End us on the shopping tip. Go ahead.
Yeah, that I never thought about. So,
okay.
I went about 2 weeks ago, purchased some items from Target. I have a Target credit card. So I use it because, it gives you the 3% or 5% off or whatever it is. So essentially it cancels out the sales tax. So I put it all on the card. And then there was like 4 items I decided, okay, I changed my mind on. And I took them back to return them at the store. The mistake I made is I had already paid off the full credit card balance because I just used it for the discount, and then I go on and I pay the bill when once the balance pops on there. Well, you're then stuck at having to shop at their store because your 2 options are the money to go back onto the credit card that you've already paid the bill off of, or get issued a gift card. So yeah, that was my shopping learning experience this year. Don't pay your credit card bill off till you're sure that you're going to keep the items.
I see. That on that shocking bombshell from the Santa Claus looking man, we're going to end this episode. So thank you all for participating. So like I said, feel free to put in the comment section. And feel free to answer my question. What is your take on the earliest time to put up the decorations? Maybe your answer is year round. Maybe your answer is beginning of the month. Whatever works for you is fine. And then also I want an answer in the Christmas music. Maybe your answer for both is the same. That's fine. I'm just curious which one it is. We're looking for some engagement here. Like we're approaching the season. Right now it's still the beginning of the month, but it's going to sneak up on us quickly. You're going to see. Oh, and one last thing I'll mention, and this is something I'm going to start working on. I did mention that when I was on Big Scott's channel this past Sunday, and this is something that has been the case. Brandon, I did not realize this until I looked into it this weekend. This year, both on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, is going to be the 5th year of the BIC Christmas special, and the 5th year of the New Year's Eve BIC Christmas special.
Ooh, fancy.
So This is the fifth
And
year that I've done both these things. I know it's the fifth year that I've done both of these things. So obviously this year, I think it falls right in the middle of the week. I think I believe it's Wednesday for Christmas and Wednesday for New Year's. I'll double check the calendar, but regardless of where it is on the
I
calendar,
don't even know, to be honest.
yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the middle of the week. But regardless, it's going to be wherever it is. I'm going to have it on there. That the only thing that may do is it may affect the Friday live. Yeah. So Christmas Eve is Wednesday. Christmas is Thursday, and then New Year's Eve Wednesday, and then Thursday for New Year's. So yeah, so that means there is going to be a special Wednesday live towards the latter portion of the month, and I don't think there'll be a Friday live those 2 weeks because it's usually a quick turnaround. I'm like, I don't necessarily want to turn it around that week, but the other stuff we'll figure out the scheduling on. I'll let you know if there's adjustments to the holiday schedule. But regardless, enjoy your holiday season, whatever it is that you're going to be doing in the next couple of weeks. We'll let you all know if there's any updates to that. But again, the BIC Christmas special and the BIC New Year's special will both be happening. We've got them on the calendar. The only thing I'm going to be figuring out is what cast of characters may pop in from that one. So, fifth year. This is the fifth year. That's pretty good. Consistency, Brandon. That's pretty good consistency. I was impressed with myself. I didn't even realize it was the fifth. That's pretty good. I might have to do like a special thumbnail for that one to get to cover the 5 years and everything. So I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, that's it. Thank you, AMG, for supporting the podcast and the channel. Again, Bougie Eric is off watching the Patriots because they're actually competent this year. Heaven forbid. Packers won. The Ravens, less said, the better.
Yeah, we did not look too good this week.
No.
But, there's always next week.
Yep. Anyway, that's it. More videos coming up on the channel, and then Friday live streams, the longest running episodic, whatever it is. Indeed, it is the longest running episodic, whatever it is. We're going to continue that forward. And we didn't get a chance to show you, but we threatened it on Friday. But on Friday, there may be a kazoo unboxing. So if you saw the Friday live stream, there's your warning. We're going to follow up. We'll be back on that episode. Anyway, that's it for us this time around. Catch you in the next one.